Okay, everyone. This video should be a relatively quick one. It's basically just a question about how to calculate the marginal revenue for a monopolist. We're actually going to use this a lot in this class, so it's really important to figure out, but it's not something that's super, I hope, difficult. I explained it in the videos, but I just think that giving 5 examples for the students who might still be struggling with the concept might be helpful. Okay, so here I gave you the demand curve for 5 different monopolists that 5 different monopolists face, and I just asked you to calculate the marginal revenue curve for these monopolists. Okay, so you should do that by yourself. And as a reminder, before you start doing it by yourself, it's pretty straightforward. The marginal revenue is exactly the same thing as the demand curve, and we just double the slope. Okay, so you can do that, and now you should be done, and I'm just going to give you the answer. The answer is pretty straightforward. As I said, we just double the slope. So if the demand curve is 500 minus 10 QD, the marginal revenue is going to be 500 minus 20 QD. And it's actually pretty important to understand this and be able to do this. We are going to reuse that when we do oligopoly and specifically duopoly later on. So really important to still know how to do this. For the second monopolist who face a demand curve of 100 minus 15Q, the marginal revenue will be 100, to which we just take away 15 times 2, 30 QD. So we just double this number here, right? Same thing for the third one. It's going to be 1000 minus 4 QD. For the fourth one, the marginal revenue is just going to be 30 minus 0.02 QD. And finally, the last one, it's just going to be the marginal revenue is equals to 50 minus 3 QD. So a couple of examples, right? I hope it's clear. I want to say something else here, which wasn't an initial question, but I'll do it for 2 of these, right? If we were to take a graph and we were trying to find the intercept, not the y-intercept, usually we have the y-intercept here, which is 500. If we were trying to find the x-intercept, what we would want to be finding is this. Just give me a second. Okay, sorry, I had to pause the video because my cat was meowing a lot. I'm back now. So what I was trying to say is if we try to draw the first one, if we try to draw the marginal revenue, we know that the marginal revenue will have about twice the slope, so it will go down twice as fast. Okay. One thing that I did explain in the video is that if we find where the demand curve crosses the y-axis, which would usually be the quantity, and this would be the price here, right? If we find this intercept here, we can easily find the intercept for the marginal revenue curve. It's going to be at the value, okay? How do we find the intercept? Well, on the y-intercept, not the x-intercept, we've already found the x-intercept. We know it's 500 from all the other questions we've done before. But if we want to find the y-intercept, so this point here on the demand curve, what we would do is we would set the willingness to pay or the price to 0. Right here, the price is 0. So if I put 0 is equal to not the willingness to pay, sorry. 0 is equal to 500 minus 10 QD. Yeah, big boy? His name is Big Boy. Okay, 500 minus 10 QD. And then we solve for 0. That would give us 10 QD is equal to 500. And that would give us QD is equals to 500 divided by 10, 50. Okay, so when the price is 0, on this line here, the quantity demanded would be 50. So this would be 50 here, right? That number here is 50. I already know that this point here should be 25. Okay, and we can actually verify that by doing the same thing. If I try to find the y-intercept for this function here, I can just put the marginal revenue as 0. I put a 0 in here and I solve for QD. And if we do that, we should be finding 25. Now, I don't actually expect you to do this math every time. I'm just likely or liable to give you a graph in the exam and maybe put 25 here and expect you can figure out this is 50, or put, I don't know, 500 here and expect that you can find this is 250, right? This relationship is always going to be true, so try to understand it. That would be 20 QD is equals to 500. That would be QD is equals to 500 divided by 20, which should just be 25. Okay, and so if this one, the y-intercept here is 50, this value here will be 25. If that value here was 1,000, this one here would be 500, so on and so forth. If you want to, you can try to verify with one of these other ones here, and you should always get that result. Again, I'm unlikely to ask you to calculate these intercept on an exam, but I could totally see myself giving you a graph, right? Giving you this point, asking you to tell me what this point is, or giving you this point, asking me to give me what this point is here. And that should be pretty straightforward if you understand what we just did here. Thank you very much, and so sorry for the big boy cameo there.